Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, as per your respective time zone. On behalf of entire Evosys Managed Services team, we'd like to welcome you all to 21D Talent Management Advisory webinar session. This important session is to keep you fully synchronized with the new features and functionalities as a part of this quarterly release, which Oracle provides to all of us. My name is Hardik Patel, and I'm an operations manager here at Evosys Managed Services Department. Today, I'm your host for this session, and I'm glad to introduce my colleague Siddharth Gautam as part of our vast HCM team at Evosys. Today, he'll take us through all the talent management updates for 2020 quarterly release. We have planned this session for around 60 minutes, and we'll make sure that we also leave some time to answer all your questions or queries you may have. Let's look at the agenda of today. So we'd like to convey your approach in a very simpler method. We'll be taking you through the vital analysis for the 2020 updates done by our expert, which will help you incorporating features and updates easily into your system. Also, we'll sync you on any bugs or known issues if there are any. And then we'll be taking you through closing note along with the Q&A. And we'd like to have a bit of an interactive session. So please do ask all your questions you may have, and we'll be happy to answer them as quick as we can. That's the next page, which is just to give you a glimpse of how we have created the structure of this session. So what it includes is list of new features coming in 21D release, detailing on features, so you get brief understanding on what new features are all about. And next one is what are business benefits and the important takeaways for you as a decision maker. And there are 4 components wherein we have done in-depth analysis for the features which are going to present to you today. The first one is impact level analysis, which demonstrates the impact on the end user. If it's a low impact, then regression testing can be avoided or not. If it's a high impact, then you must opt for regression testing. Second one, which is we all are aware that there's some features which are by default auto-enabled by Oracle, and there's some which we need to opt for. And third one highlights the nature of the feature. There would be certain configurations which may be required, or some can be used without any changes. And the last one is a quick win. This term we use to simply convey that what is ready to use by investing minimum amount of time and what requires significant amount of time and effort to make use of this feature. So before I hand it over to my colleague Siddharth, I'd just quickly like to know, with the help of a quick poll, that which industry does your organization belongs to? If you can please help us by putting your input. This would help us creating fruitful webinar content moving forward. We'll be closing the poll and we'll immediately move to, I'll hand it over to my colleague Siddharth, and he'll take you through the important session. Siddharth, over to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Hardik. A very warm greetings for the day to this august house of intellects, business personas, and fusion enthusiasts. It is now that time of the quarter where we have yet another set of new and improvised list of features exclusively for our day-to-day HR and learning and development needs. But ladies and gentlemen, make no mistakes, because today we are not only limited to the narration of the features, but would also help you to understand them so that you can align them to the best of your business practices. This is in line with our organizational goal to provide quality consulting to our clients. Today, on the table, we have 30 distinct features. Based on our experience and expertise of business practices, we have abstracted them into some quirky insights. Now, the first column that you see, we have 20 default features with 17 of them being quick wins. Just as Hardik mentioned, quick wins are the feature which requires the least of effort and time from both the implementation point of view as well as the usability of the feature. This translates into that you can start using these just with the first light at dawn with minimal configuration changes. Next, we have out of the 10 opt in features in this release, 6 are ready to use. Hence, quick wins again. Seems that Oracle has paid a lot of effort to convenience this time. Ladies and gentlemen, So this would be the flow for our presentation today. We would first start with the features we think are quick win for our clients, with the ones topping with no configurations required. Following it, we would be having those quick win features which have a minimal configuration in place but are also default. Next in line would be the rest features, and we would be summarizing it with the opt-ins. Starting with the first one, quick wins default with no configurations. These are the features which are there in your system by default and require no configuration to be used. These could be the perfect mix to increase your efficiency. So that's why we need you to pay attention to this. Starting with the first one, select or remove multiple access groups for learning item. This one is a must have for any learning and development professional. Now, we can add or remove global access groups in a single step instead of multiple steps that we had before. Of course, initially we had the option to remove global access group, but that was a very long and tedious process with each access group needed to be added or removed individually. Now, as learning and development professional, we know how monotonous it can be. This makes managing a diverse group of learners and or courses a lot easier. Coming to the impact analysis, the impact should be on the lower scale of it because, of course, learning and development professionals are already a pro in the work. So, this feature would not be affecting a large scale of users because it only serves the niche. Those are the learning and development professionals. We don't need to enable these features, it's auto enabled and there are no configuration required. Hence, it's a quick win. Next on the table, we have the translation support for e-learning player. Now, this feature, ladies and gentlemen, enables organizations to be cross-lingual in an effort to make workflows more synergized. All the information which are not driven by the content are now available in the user's set language of preference. Coming to the analysis, this is again a low impact feature because it tends to serve niche users. There are no steps which needs to be enabled for this feature to be in play. Also, there are no configurations to be made. And at last, this feature even qualifies to be a quick win. Now, this is one of the most detailed features that we have in this release. Now, we have loads of additional attributes to personalize succession plans. N- Oracle has provided the additional design studio support for succession plan and talent pool pages. Now, all these attributes are available when you go next in the transaction design studio to plan the succession pages for your organization. Now, this will help cater to every organization's individual and dynamic succession needs. Once again, the impact is expected to be low in terms of the headcount affected. There are no steps which needs to be enabled to use this feature, hence no configuration. And of course, it's a quick win. Next in line, we have reporting on talent review meeting notes. Ladies and gentlemen, this feature here is for all our meticulous professionals, do note, who have an eye for detail. Now you can enhance reporting by adding various details under the talent review meeting details. There's a subfolder there where all your minutes, such as the author's details, the version numbers, you know, it could be added up there. This could be used to guide HR specialists through the administration pages for performance documents by providing some help there. Coming to the impact analysis again, this feature again serves a niche of professionals, hence it's on a low level of impact. There are no steps which are needed to be enabled and no configuration to use this feature. And once again, it qualifies as a quick win. One thing I would like to stress upon is when we say that a feature is of low level impact, it means the head count that feature would affect. If you're talking about a particular feature which would only be used by an HR professional or a learning and development professional, it could be very innovative. But someone from a different stream in the same organization would have no use to that feature. So in that case, since the feature serves only a niche of the client, we classify it as a low impact level. On the table, we have the notification for automatically populated matrix manager participants in performance documents. This feature here is for all our professionals who are in performance document phases. Now, this streamlines the already hectic performance review process. With the advent of this feature, now all matrix managers are directly sent a pop-up notification informing that they are participant in an employee's performance document. Earlier, the matrix managers only received a notification when they were in the managed participant feedback page. Once again, the impact level is determined to be low because it only serves the needs of the matrix managers. Again, there are no steps that are need to be enabled and no configurations to be done, and it qualifies for a quick win again. Serially, we have all these features which have no need to be enabled, neither they have configuration, because we are in the first phase of our presentation today, wherein we are discussing all the features which are quick win and are not needed to be enabled or configured. So you can use that at the first light in the morning tomorrow. Now, this one, Oracle has introduced view more details for goals in check-ins. Now, this will actually help us view more than just the basic details of the goals included in a check-in. For all the managers, the HR professionals, and the learning and development cadres, this could actually enhance the way we look at reporting for our employees or any learner who's opting in for a goal. Coming to the impact analysis, the impact level is again low, that there's no need to enable this feature. The configuration is not in place. There's nothing required to be configured before using this feature, and this qualifies for a quick win. Now we come to learning assignment withdrawal transactions in transaction console. Now take note that this feature now appears only in the transaction summary section of the transaction console. This actually enhances the transactional controls for learning requests. Now, learning administrators can also use the bypass and reject action to reject the withdrawal request, which will now return the learning assignment to its previous not started or in progress state. So this is basically for the learning administrators, and it helps them abstract a better control on other learning requests that are present in the system. Coming to the impact analysis, the impact level is low since it's basically aimed to ease out learning administrators. There's no need to enable this feature, as well as there are no configurations required in place, and it also qualifies for a quick win. Enhancement to learning request approval workflow. Now, this particular feature over here, it helps increase the traceability and access control of learning requests. Now, we would be able to access the minute details of a learning request from the point it's created up till the desired status of the request being bypassed or approved or rejected. Coming to the impact analysis, the impact level is again low. There's no need to enable, neither there are any configurations, and it's again a quick time of day displayed for withdrawal dates. Now, most people who are familiar with the manage employment section of the Fusion Cloud system, they know that the Fusion system does not really rely on the timestamp one, but Oracle has made a difference this time. This time, they have introduced the timestamp added attribute so that it improves the tracking of when a learning item was withdrawn. Coming to the analysis, it's again a low level impact feature with no need to configure, neither any need to enable, and it qualifies for a quick win, of course. So that's it with the default features, which required no configuration to be used. Next, we have the features which are default, which means they are not required to be enabled because they are already in place, but you need to put in a degree of configuration before you begin using them. Provide feedback for other workers, quick action, and deep link. Now, this actually helps organization in line to make their workplace a more harmonized institution, wherein now workers can provide feedbacks for their colleagues, their managers, or someone who's reporting to them directly. The impact analysis for this would be uh, it's on the lower level. There's no need to enable this feature, but yeah, there's some degree of configuration which is required to enable to put and use this feature, and it qualifies for a quick win again because this helps clarify expectation. The people that we have today on this rostrum would be the best guys to understand the importance of a feedback. It helps in many ways. It actually helps us channelize the thoughts of the entire team in one direction by clarifying the expectation and actually helping people build cooperation amongst them. So this one is actually a thumbs up. Next in line, we have view all ethnicities of a worker on the dashboard feature. Now, for all our reporting professionals, now you can club up all the ethnicities who are actually working in your organization in different departments. It could be multiple ethnic races, you could diversify it by linguistic cultures and club them all together in one single dashboard. This will actually help you to see more information of the demography that's working with you. The impact analysis is kept at medium because of course it's gonna help you decide a lot of your company policies in coming future. Next, we do need to enable this feature since it's a very detailed one and there are configuration steps involved. And at last, such an innovative feature definitely needs to be a quick win. Coming to the next feature that we have is the add contextual notes to a development goal. Now let's look for an instance wherein one of our reportees has started a development goal. As a manager, we know that the employee has started attending a development goal or has set a development goal for himself or themselves. Wouldn't it be interesting if the attendee of that development goal can even add contextual notes, things which could be abstract but related to that particular goal? So we can be in line to the obstacles, we can be aware of the challenges that that people reporting to us or the people attending those development goals are facing. Coming to the impact analysis again, this feature is expected to be on the medium scale of the impact and it needs to be enabled and has some configuration step in place. But given the plethora of understanding it increases, it's definitely a quick win again. Not only we can give feedbacks about our colleagues and co-workers, but this time Oracle has even introduced a feature where we can request feedback from peers and direct reports. This will actually help us to enhance the harmony and synergy that we have in our organization. So now we can quickly select our peers or direct reports when we request a feedback. This actually improves the entire process wherein as an HR persona, we can set a particular demography of people from which we need a feedback of. Coming to the impact analysis, the impact level is on the lower scale. We do need to enable this feature and there are some steps of configuration involved, but it's definitely a quick win again. This time Oracle seems to put a lot of efforts in managing metrics and increasing the reporting efficiency. So this feature in place that we have is the additional metrics for managed learners. Now we can actually view additional metrics in terms of courses completed, pending approvals. It could be requests that were rejected for any learning assignment pages, which could be courses, offering, and specialization that are present. Now, this actually increases the efficiency of the reporting metrics of a learner. So we are not only mapping a learner based on how they have performed in a course, but even with these abstract metrics that we now have at our disposal. The impact analysis again is set to be at medium, and this feature needs to be enabled. And there are some steps to be configured before you can begin using them. Given the depth of this feature and the insights that it may provide to certain organizations, this definitely qualifies to be a quick win. Next in line, we have the substitute performance document evaluators. Now, this particular feature can actually help management person to save time by allowing other users to carry out certain evaluation tasks on their behalf. How many a times a day we require a need to delegate? If we are a person somewhere in the management, if you are a person with a lot of responsibilities, juggling between tasks can be a lot stressful, and we wouldn't be wanting a situation wherein our deferred opinion or our deferred attention actually affects someone's evaluation or polarizes it in some way. So we tend to delegate the evaluation sometimes. Earlier it was not allowed, but now Oracle has allowed us to give them the security access to help carry on the evaluation. The impact level again is set at medium, and this feature needs to be enabled and configured before it can be used. But given its usefulness, it's again a quick win. Now we have the self-service learning catalog search usability improvement. Now this actually is more of a feature which improves the searching efficiency across the multiple titles of courses that we have. So talking about organizations which have far widening lengths and breadths, there can be a plethora of courses and titles available for learners to take up. This feature actually in place helps narrow down that list by increasing the efficiency of the search that we have. So now we can append the wildcard characters to the end of the learner's catalog, or we can specify the minimum number of characters required. The impact level is again kept at low with the need to enable this feature and some configurations to be done before we begin using this. And this feature qualifies to be a quick win. Next on the table, we have the display activity classroom title in self-service. Now, this particular feature actually enables us to record detailed location information. So, for all the organizations having their offerings and learning in classrooms present, now with the details of the courses, we can even add that location information where that course is actually being held. On the impact side, it is more on the lower scale with a need to enable this feature, and the configuration needs to be done before we begin using them. But this again begins to be a quick win given that organizations these days are diversified, and with their diversified needs, there could be learnings happening at multiple places, at multiple floors and on offices. This can actually save a lot of hassle for a lot of learners. Just as we begin to enter the third phase, these are the quick win features which are opt-in, which basically means based on the previous trends, these features can actually prove to be helpful for organizations, but these are not made default by Oracle. So the first one is the Career Development Approval Transaction Aging Policy, a very long name. So this feature, what it actually does is, initially, only the completed development goal transactions were archived. But what Oracle has actually helped us do is that from this particular release, we can actually archive even draft development goal and unapproved transactions. So the default time lapse has been set at 180 days, but admins can change it according to the organization policies. On the impact side, it's on the lower side of the impact with a need to enable and configuration steps to be done, but it qualifies to be a quick win again because it enhances maintenance of development goals. Similar to the development goal, now we have the goal management approval transaction aging policy. Just like the previous case, even earlier we didn't had the function where we can archive the goal management transactions which were in draft status or were in rejected or unapproved statuses. But now we can archive all those transactions with the default value set for 180 days. Like the time which needs to be elapsed before it could be archived was 180 days, but now admins can change it according to the organization's policies. This is also on the lower side of the impact with a need to be enabled and configured before ready to use and a quick win because it actually helps maintain the performance goals by archiving goals that users haven't worked on. So now the admins know which goals the users are actually working on and which goals are stuck with the learners that are taking them. Now we have the add learning to a development goal when approvals are enabled. This particular feature actually triggers an approval flow whenever a learning item is added to a development goal or removed from it. So this actually enhances the way we track goal progress. On the impact side, it's on the lower scale. There is a need to enable this feature indeed with certain steps of configuration in place. And this feature again qualifies to be a quick win given it allows ease of access and tracking. of development goals. This one is one of my personal favorites. Oracle has now introduced this feature to create generic surveys using questionnaires. Now, we can create questionnaires to surveys which could be anything under the sky. These surveys that we are creating need not to be related to our organizational objective of human capital management, but it could be something very open ended. Let's say we want to collect our feedback on the latest project. We want to collect a feedback on how the new printer that we installed at office is working. Because these small steps actually helps us improve our efficiency a lot. So now admins can create generic questionnaires and use them in multiple surveys. The impact level is deemed to be on the medium edge. There is a need to enable this feature and configure before it is ready to use. And given it is feedbacks again and it's open ended, it's definitely a quick win. The enhanced goal plan sort feature. Now, this is a pretty simple and straightforward feature. Oracle has actually helped us to sort out the goal plan in a more categorized ways. So now we can locate goals in a goal plan easily by using the additional sort options that are available. On the impact side, it is on the lower edge with a need to enable this feature and configurations in place to use them. But once again, given the number of goals an organization has, given the size of an organization, it qualifies for a quick win. Next in line, we have the new dimensions in learning record real-time subject area. Now, basically, this is a high impact level feature because this leverages the additional columns for more detailed reporting. Just as I mentioned, ladies and gentlemen, this time Oracle has paid extra effort on how we report metrics. This feature indeed helps us to improve the way we report. So now we can actually include the following in the subject areas. It could be the assigner information, it could be the assigned learning item information, completion details, or offering completion details of the learning record. So now we are in the final stage with the features that are classified as REST. These are completely optional, which can be deemed to be used as per an organization's individual choice. Information banners on HR admin pages. Now, this particular feature is actually very considerate of our HR individuals. This feature actually provides an extra bit of help to HR specialists, wherein a banner is displayed on administrative pages of performance documents so that they are guided step by step of how to perform a couple of actions. This is done to keeping in mind that performance documents are already a very hectic step to be done. On the impact scale, this is a low level feature since it only caters to the convenience of HR professionals. This feature needs to be enabled and configured before it could be used. And this is cannot be qualified as a quick win because our HR professionals are already multitasking. Next in line, we have the allow workers to choose to view requested feedback. Now, this one is a pretty innovative, or I would say a quirky thinking feature, wherein now we can allow workers to choose whether they can see the feedback they have requested for. So it is sort of wherein we request the feedback from a couple of co-workers, from a managers or reportees, and the next day we can actually choose to not view them. Now, this may not make any business sense at first, but this actually has a more effect on the lingual side, wherein Oracle is now providing complete control and abstraction over a user's personal space. So it's on you whether you want the feedback, or let's say if you have requested for a feedback, whether do we want to see that feedback. On the impact side, it is on the lower level with the need to enable this feature and to be configured before it could be used. But however innovative or quirky it may be, it does not qualify to be a quick win. Now, next we come to the Skillsoft integration enhancement. Now, this feature basically improves the performance of Skillsoft courses that are now loaded via the generic load and synchronized external course data processes. On the impact scale, this is on the lower side with a need to enable and configurations are not in place. Once again, since this directs to a third-party landing page, it's not a quick win. Finally, we come to the record external learning through mobile from any web page. Now, this particular feature actually helps remove the need for manual configuration to support external learning. So now we can directly go to our app, and the app automatically fills in the URL for the resource being shared and to be learned. With the app, I mean the app for Fusion, and you would be redirected to the learning or the registered external learning site. On the impact side, it is on the lower level. This feature needs not to be enabled, neither needs to be configured, and it does not qualify for a quick win. Next, we have the section level save on succession plan and talent pool pages. Now, earlier, if you remember, for the succession plan, while we are in the process to make the succession plan, we only had the option to save it at last. But now Oracle has provided us with an opportunity to save our updates at every section of the succession plan as we keep updating it. So this actually helps us to to save our changes immediately. And now HR personals or admins can actually go on a coffee break easily without worrying about losing the changes on a succession plan. For the impact analysis, it's again on the lower end with no need to enable this feature, neither there are any configurations in place, but this also does not qualify for a quick win. Now, the multi-threaded eligibility batch process is the next feature in line that we have in 21 and D. This feature now basically helps us to easily find the performance documents or check-in templates to process using the new field and review periods that we have. Now, although the new process is quicker, it now runs for one specific performance document at one time. Earlier, it used to run for multiple performance documents. On the impact side, it is on the lower level with no need to enable and no configurations required. And again, it does not qualify to be a quick win. Next in line, we have the send succession notifications based on data security. Now, in this particular feature, the security actions that succession plan owners have for planned candidates determines the notifications they get for assignment changes. So now the succession plan owners can notify about the assignment changes of candidates only if they have access to the candidate whose assignment has been changed. On the impact side, it's on the lower level with no need to enable it and no configurations in place, and it's again not a quick win. With this, we come to an end of all the 30 features that we had for 21D talent management profile. And the floor is now open for questions, if any.
So thank you, Siddhartha, for these wonderful insights. We can see in the chat if there's any questions we have. No, not at the moment. So yes, we can see one. Yeah, there's one question from a person, technical Mark, is asked that can you show the first two slides again on quick wins low level. So we can also, so just to kind of clarify, we'll be also sending you, we'll make sure that we approach you separately as well. And also we'll be sending you thank you email along with the full presentation and recording of this, the entire session as well, and along with the chat scripts for that. And also we'll connect you separately in order to kind of send you this right away. Or if you want any explanation, we can take that as well. Just we would like to quickly like to know your area of interest with the quick poll that so that we can come up with the more value-based content for the next webinars. So this is to do with the technology innovations or managed services or the value-based delivery which VBA, VBD, which Evosys provides to customers, and the cloud transformation, we call it Glide, or data masking. If you have any question and any of these things, you can also reach out to the respective project managers. If you are not Evosys client and if you're an external attendee, you can also write to us on the business@evosysglobal.com. Thank you very much for providing the poll. And yep, there are also some upcoming webinars which you can or you can ask your colleagues to register for the same. As I've mentioned again, we'll be 100% sending you the recording session along with the PPT slides so that you can go through it. And yeah, do let us know if you have any questions, queries, or feedback through the form which we send it to you, along with the test scripts and the new features. And so with this, we'll be wrapping up today's session. Really, really appreciate for your important time.